Rejoice, O Father Raphael, adornment of the Holy Church. Thou art champion of the truth.
Well, we're back for part two, and as part of that event, I thought I would move from a different place in the little house here. And this is the main location where I teach classes. The other that we were using the other day was in a little study there to the side. I'd like to speak a little bit about the same length of time as last time, part one, I guess we can call that, about this word that we use a great deal in writing about the education at St. Raphael, as well as in class and with parents and students. That is the word wonder. I do believe it requires a bit of explanation in our day when, like so many other standard words and very good words in our vocabulary, have undergone changes, if not of meaning completely, at least of a nuance, and the connotation of a term has broadened a great deal under, to a large extent, I would say, a kind of an abuse of what's happened to the language. So today, wonder is often associated with anything from Walt Disney type features. You know, it used to be called the wonderful world of Disney. Now, this is not to say, particularly in the older times, that the Disney cartoonists and writers did not do some pretty neat things. That's for sure. But nonetheless, it's had a. It's really not wonder. It's more like, at its best, pretty good entertainment. But it's not wonder. The other confusion, and this is, and I mean the word as a confusion, not necessarily as a criticism. It's just something that has happened, and it's easy to see why it's happened, and that is to confuse the word wonder and curiosity. And right now, I would say that curiosity has the upper hand. In literature, for example, that would be in sci-fi and what they call fantasy sci-fi literature, as well as movies and or video games and all those other spin-offs. So, and I would say of the two, just general meanings that the word wonder has picked up over the years, separating it from curiosity is probably the more difficult one, and I'm not so sure I can do it. But I do know there's a distinction, or else there wouldn't be those two terms. I mean, there has to be a distinction between the two. However, most dictionaries, even the better ones around today, if you look up wonder, they may refer you to curiosity. And if you look up curiosity, they'll use as a synonym wonder. Now, the really better ones will make a distinction and maybe even use wonder in context as a sentence, or curiosity as a sentence to show these differences. As you might suspect, I'm going to define wonder from the ancient world and from the idea of tradition. It's very, very interesting to do some Greek and Latin etymologies for that, but I'm not quite up to that today. I know that they exist, and we'll just let it go at that. But let me start this way. And you just check it against your own experience to see if this rings true or partly true for you in your experience. But wonder is a species of fear. Now, at first, you say, well, no, no, wait a minute. If we're going down the emotions or we're going down the experiences, there's fear, there's joy, there's sadness, there's happiness. And why is wonder? Well, that's what I said. It's a species of fear, because wonder, and Socrates talks a lot about this throughout his various dialogues, not in any one place. He's not that handy. You've got to read them all. He talks about wonder as being a kind of surprise, where in an instant, an existential instance, I suppose they call it today, you realize, or as he would have it, you know that you don't know. Now, this is a more ancient and traditional understanding of this word. And with, speaking of synonyms for other words, which are very good things to know about, they take a word, synonyms do, certainly when they're correct and in the spirit of the word, and make them into constellations. It was pointed out to me by my dear teacher, Dr. John Sr. I mean, just the analogy of thinking of constellations and words as similar. And I always thought to myself, what a lovely way of having that stick in your mind. Whereas we look up to the lodestar, let's say a wonder, but over there is the word awe, A-W-E, or awesome, you know, or another bright star in that is mystery, perhaps, and so on. So in so doing, we're getting closer, at least to the ancient meaning, traditional meaning, and the way we like to use it, and do use it at St. Raphael, as it gets into education. In other words, we like to create the atmosphere for wonder to take place with the students, with all of us, individually or collectively. I don't know. We can't pen that down. So why is that important? The recognition that we know that we do not know. Because we can't learn otherwise. If we think we know, then we have no business in class. I used to have, in passing, a bit of a keen interest in astrophysics, believe it or not. But as I saw later, it was just simply because I loved the heavens, loved the stars, and so on. But you see, I would be met with that moment of wonder continually, and I would pass to more than back from that wonder. Then I would pass into my better reason and say, I'm not going to pursue this. This is going to be way over my head. But also, the recognition that one doesn't know is a prerequisite for knowing. Round and round a little bit, doesn't it? If all teachers have had this, all parents have had a child perhaps like this, that when they know or think they know, there is no teaching them. There is no explanation. There's no skill or art or craft to persuade them otherwise. They don't want to experience wonder because they already know. I used to, in college level, I didn't do this in the lower grades, but when I used to teach college, whether it was literature and composition or just a literature class, or even a philosophy class, come to think of it, philosophy of education, which I taught for a while, I would say, if you guys already know, we're getting ready to read Plato's Republic. Now, if you think you really know these answers, that are going to be found in there, then there's really no reason to be here. You ought to go get your money back, because you're basically unteachable then. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. I'm sure you're all better people than I am. But for this class, there's no reason to be here if you already know. And that was a kind of a sly, maybe, little trick. I don't know if I'd still do that today. But it caught their attention, at least. And I never had anybody leave, so that's good. But at any rate, the idea that we are not kings of our intellect and that we can know everything is a very, very good, humbling experience. But that's not the only side of the experience of wonder. You see where the fear would come in then? I can really draw this out to what we can certainly speculate is a keen moment. And it would go something like this, that, let's see, I just read this sentence, or I just heard the professor, the teacher, read this quote, perhaps from the Psalms. And I've got a little, it's just fascinating to my ears. It's fascinating. But as soon as I try to put my thinking cap on, I don't get it. And I know I don't get it, but I think of myself that I should get it because, hey, I'm smart, and I've been told that all I have to use is my brain and my mind, and I can figure things out. But I can't. And so there's that fear, just a little bit of fear. It's not debilitating fear. It's not even close to being anything like a pathology or anything, or an anxiety attack. Oh, I suppose some students may get those. But that's why I say it's associated with fear, because wonder, at least at one level of experience, is the knowledge that you know that you do not know that something is here before you. The other aspect of this not knowing that is so important, and of course when I say not knowing, I'm speaking of the rational intellect for the most part, not altogether, but for the most part. But the other side of that is delight, in spite of the fear.
Joy of all the Orthodox, son of Antioch, boast of America, intercede